Chloe, your face is a horror show. You need to practice some basic hygiene and clean yourself up, or it's just going to get worse. Hearing those familiar words, I realized I had been reborn. My consciousness came flooding back. I saw Jessica standing in front of me, phone in hand, filming from every angle. She even grabbed a bottle of cheap lotion from the table and was about to slather it on my face. Then, she held a mirror up to me. The reflection was horrifying. A face covered in acne, with puffy, swollen flesh. It was enough to make anyone gag. I swatted the mirror away, and it shattered, sending shards flying everywhere. Jessica's expression flickered for a second before she recovered. It's just a few pimples. It's no big deal. We shouldn't have anxiety about our looks. We need to face life head-on. Look at me. I stay up late every night and do whatever I want. You can't be so hard on yourself. With that, she shoved her phone in my face. Come on, say hi to everyone. This is the first step to getting your confidence back. The live chat started scrolling immediately, and the viewer count climbed. I've never seen anyone with that much acne. It's disgusting. Being around Jessica all the time, don't you feel insecure? The comparison is brutal. I'm all for body positivity, but at least try to take care of your appearance. Furious, I snatched the phone and threw it on the ground. You're filming me without my consent. That's illegal. It was the first time I'd ever gotten angry. Before, my face had made me so insecure that I never dared to talk back, no matter what anyone said. My roommate and my boyfriend had cornered me until I felt like a sewer rat. As I raged, Jessica shot a helpless look at my boyfriend, Jason. He frowned, and after setting down Jessica's luggage, he pointed a finger at me. Chloe, what's your problem? Jessica is trying to help you with your anxiety, and you're screaming at her. Aren't you overreacting? Besides, you need her help to fix that mess of a face. Jessica chimed in, feigning hurt. Chloe, I'm just trying to help. Every girl wants to feel confident. I'm just helping you get yours back. Jason was completely smitten, his voice filled with reprimand. I know you're jealous of Jessica, but not everyone can be a natural beauty like her. She's just teaching you to be confident. If you don't want her help, fine, but why do you have to be so rude? The comments in the live chat turned even nastier. Ugly people are always causing drama. Jessica's just trying to be nice, and she's so ungrateful. If I looked that hideous and had to scare people all day, I'd just kill myself. What a waste of air and food. Before I could say another word, Jessica deliberately turned her flawless profile to the camera as tears streamed down her face. Please don't fight because of me. I won't meddle in things anymore. I snorted. Since you two are so perfect for each other, I wish you a long and happy life together. I then took off all the jewelry she had given me and gathered the makeup she'd gifted me to return it. Seeing how serious I was, she started to panic and quickly shoved everything back onto my bed. I was just kidding. Jessica is so perfect, of course tons of guys are after her. Besides, you're my girlfriend. I'm not going to break up with you. I ignored him, climbed into bed, and pulled the curtain shut, blocking out the noise. My boyfriend kept apologizing on my behalf, telling me to stop being so childish. I closed my eyes, trying to block out the world. A throbbing pain in my head reminded me that I had been reborn, that I was back on the first day of the school year. In my past life, this was the day Jessica started a live stream, making a big show of offering to help cure my acne. I was forced into the public eye, but instead of comfort, I was met with a flood of vicious comments. My picture was plastered on the campus gossip page, and I was even voted the school's biggest joke. Meanwhile, Jessica's natural beauty was constantly used as a point of comparison, making me withdrawn, sensitive, and miserable. Later, Jessica came to me in private and said, "Just cooperate with my skincare routine, and I promise I'll make you beautiful." Since she was a body positivity influencer, I foolishly trusted her, and even let her draw several vials of my blood. But my acne didn't get better, it got worse, spreading all over my body. Yet, as I watched her face and body become more and more perfect, I felt like I had no choice but to place all my hope in her. I never imagined that was the beginning of the tragedy. My face began to rot, and my body swelled. But she kept filming me for her live streams, using my misery to encourage others to embrace their flaws and not worry about their looks. It earned her a massive following. She brought different men back to our dorm every night. When I warned her about being promiscuous, she brushed it off and told me to mind my own business. But then I started developing gynecological problems and was even diagnosed with AIDS. When someone filmed her with those men, she immediately went live and accused me of being promiscuous. My boyfriend cried his eyes out on her stream, even showing my medical records as proof. The whole campus found out. Friends who were once close to me stayed away. People demanded I be expelled so I wouldn't infect them. My parents, disgusted by my supposed promiscuity, threw me out of the house. I had no choice but to drop out of college. I found a tiny rental, thinking that if I just got away from them, my life could get better. But my health only worsened, and my stomach started to grow bigger each day. She brought a camera crew to my home, using the gimmick of raising awareness for body image issues, to film me in my wretched state. I was swarmed with hateful comments. She probably doesn't even know who the father is. She's ugly and has AIDS. She should just die and stop being a danger to society. Oh my God, she's as fat as a pig. Doesn't she make herself sick? The endless rumors washed over me like a flood, shattering the last bit of peace I had. I was evicted by the property manager, and no one would rent to me. I ended up living under an overpass. My stomach grew larger, my skin became covered in stretch marks, and then, I gave birth to a hideous, malformed placenta that emanated a dark energy. A Taoist master saw me and said I was afflicted by an evil object, which was causing all my suffering to be transferred to me. He said I had to find the source and destroy it. My strange behavior caught Jessica's attention. She and my boyfriend secretly locked me in a basement. He blocked all the exits, his face a monstrous mask as he stared at me. We're so close to succeeding. I won't allow any failures. Only when you're dead can I find a new host. Thankfully, fate gave me a second chance. I had to find the source of the curse and make them pay for what they did. To prevent the curse's backlash, I had removed every cursed item. But I still felt groggy and couldn't even make it to class. I decided to take a few days off to search for the object Jessica was using to transfer her suffering to me. I tore her desk apart but found nothing. The dizziness grew worse. I gasped for air, shocked at how weak my body had become. I collapsed onto my pillow, but something small and hard poked me. I lifted the pillow and found a small jade pendant, warm to the touch. As I held it, a shiver ran through me, as if I'd been plunged into an icy cavern. I remembered, it was a 20th birthday gift from my boyfriend. The strange thing was, he had insisted I keep it under my pillow. Rage boiled inside me. I threw it on the ground with all my might, but the jade was unharmed, not a single crack. I grabbed a utility knife and stabbed at it, then a hammer and smashed it, but it remained untouched. Instead, my head throbbed with a violent backlash that made it impossible to breathe. I lit a fire, trying to burn the pendant. Not only was it undamaged, but my entire body felt like it was on fire, as if I were trapped in a blazing inferno. Was this pendant bound to me? Was death the only way to escape its control? I examined the pendant closely and noticed strange patterns on it that seemed familiar. I thought back to my past life. That's it. The Taoist master. The talismans he gave me had the same markings. I grabbed the pendant and ran out, heading for the overpass where I had met him. When I found him, he was there, as if he knew I was coming. He didn't even raise his eyes. He spoke slowly. You're surrounded by a dark aura, a malevolent energy that's hard to dispel. You've clearly been possessed by a cursed object. It's a jade pendant, isn't it? I nodded and showed it to him. His expression turned serious as he pointed at it. This is a cursed item, nourished by human blood. Any harm that befalls the wearer is reflected back onto the one who gave their blood. Ah well, saving a life is a worthy deed. He sighed, then swept the air around me with a willow branch and drew a complex talisman, which he stuck to my forehead. This pendant's influence on you is deep. Take these talismans and place them under your pillow. Your symptoms will gradually return to normal. Instantly, I felt a lightness spread through my body. The tightness in my chest was gone. In his hand, the pendant let out a pained shriek before turning to dust. I tried to pay him, but he refused, saying it was his calling. When I returned to the dorm, Jessica brought a strange man in with her. He started getting handsy the moment they walked through the door. I was disgusted. Are you bringing more random guys back here? Aren't you afraid of catching something? Get out, and take your man with you. She was unfazed, even mocking me. They think I'm pretty, so they ask me out. It's hard to refuse. By the way, Chloe, how come Jason hasn't come to see you? He loves you so much, he wouldn't dump you over a few pimples. Don't worry, we've got to be the main characters of our own lives. She then wrapped her arm around the man and led him to her bed. I heard the man whisper, "The stuff on your roommate's face is terrifying. Is it contagious?" Seeing that they were about to put on a live sex show right in front of me, I immediately left and checked into a hotel for the night. I filled out an application to live off campus, and only after submitting it did I feel a sense of relief. My phone buzzed. It was a new post on Jessica's feed. Another day of clubbing and drinking. The picture showed a pile of empty glasses with several men sitting nearby. Someone commented below, "I'm so jealous. How do you drink and party all the time without getting pimples or gaining weight, while your roommate who stays in the dorm all day just gets fatter?" Out of hundreds of comments, she chose to reply to that one. Don't say that. Girls need to build their confidence, and we all have to accept our flaws. I just have good genes. My roommate is already trying her best to control her acne. We should show her more love and help her feel less insecure. Every word was a backhanded jab at me, implying that no matter how hard I tried, I'd never measure up to her natural beauty. Reading that message, my blood boiled. Without that Jade pendant, let's see how long you can keep up this fake body positivity persona. In the middle of the night, my phone rang incessantly. I saw it was Jessica, immediately declined the call, and fell into a deep sleep. The next day, as I was packing my things, I discovered that the talismans under my pillow were gone. Jessica looked up, her eyes fixed on me. A large pimple on her chin made her face look particularly grotesque. A suspicious look crossed her face as she toyed with the talismans in her hand. "What are you doing with these? Don't you know this is black magic?" Her live stream was still running, the chat filled with mocking emojis. "Jessica, why do you have a pimple? Jessica, you look a little darker." She held up the talismans for her followers. Actually, I've always been a disciple of a Taoist master, traveling the world. I felt a strong evil presence in the dorm today, and found these talismans on my roommate's bed. These are dangerous objects. Malevolent spirits are absorbing the life force of people around them to create a perfect host. I look like this now because of these talismans. The chat scrolled faster, a unified stream of insults directed at me. So gross. She's ugly, so she resorts to cheap tricks to steal Jessica's beauty. And after Jessica tried to help her with her acne. What an ungrateful snake. Wow, Jessica is from a famous Taoist lineage. That's so cool. That disgusting roommate finally messed with the wrong person. She tried to show off in front of an expert. My heart sank. Those talismans were my last hope of breaking free from her. I lunged to grab them, but she dodged. I forced myself to stay calm. I went to a temple, and a master there said my luck has been bad lately. He gave me these to change my fortune. What are you talking about, black magic? She shot back self-righteously. My grandfather is a master, and I've learned a few things from him. These talismans have a heavy dark energy. They'll drain your life force and the spiritual energy of those around you, making you weaker and weaker. The only way to get rid of the evil is to burn them. Haven't you noticed you have fewer pimples? That's the curse at work. If this continues, you'll die. You have to let me handle this. Her eyes were filled with hatred for the talismans as she set them ablaze. The firelight made her face look terrifying and monstrous. Suddenly, a wave of sickness washed over me, and I let out a pained cry. I writhed on the floor as an invisible fire seared me from the inside out. I curled up on the ground, my throat raw, the sounds coming out like an animal's roar. I'm on fire. Somebody help me. Jessica just watched coldly, ignoring my agony. Mia shrieked. Ah, call the police. Chloe's possessed. I stumbled to the bathroom and doused myself with water, but it did nothing. The pain was so intense I was about to pass out. Jessica's gaze was sharp. Who gave you these talismans? Tell me, and I can help you get rid of the evil spirit. My voice was a wisp of air. A Taoist master. She exploded. Impossible. That was obviously a fraud. He almost got you killed, you know that? You're lucky I was here. As she spoke, the talismans burned brighter, and my organs felt like they were being twisted. I coughed up a mouthful of black blood and lost consciousness. Just as my vision faded, I heard Mia's panicked voice and the sound of an ambulance. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. A doctor with a serious expression came to see me. All of your tests came back normal. But according to the video your roommate provided, you said you were on fire? We couldn't find any organ damage. We recommend a psychiatric evaluation. Faced with the doctor's advice, I was speechless, my hands clenching the bedsheets. Just as the doctor left, a familiar person walked in. Ahem. They found the talismans, didn't they? It was the master. I nodded guiltily and showed him the recording of Jessica's live stream. After sending me to the hospital, she had started another stream to clarify things. That was the evil spirit at work. It's gone now, so we're all safe. I've cleansed the evil from her body. She should wake up soon. Her brainless fans were showering her with praise. What did that roommate ever do to deserve this? We were so scared. That was terrifying, but our Jessica helped her with an exorcism. That was so scary just now. I thought I was seeing a real ghost. By claiming to be a Taoist master, she gained even more followers. Seeing her smug look, my hatred surged. The talismans were gone. Was I doomed to be her puppet again? The master stroked his chin and said slowly, when your talismans were burned, the curse rebounded on you. You should come with me to recover while we slowly undo this backlash. I left the hospital with the master and went to his secluded home. The moment I stepped inside, I felt a sense of ease, as if the air was filled with spiritual energy. I spent days soaking in a pool, and the toxins in my body were slowly purged. My skin became smooth and clear. Jessica, on the other hand, started breaking out. Her skin grew dull, but she kept up a facade of weakness on her streams. I was badly injured that day, and it left a lasting weakness. I was photographed by a passerby when I went out, and the picture went viral. Is that the same frumpy, overweight girl from before? She looks so good now. Her acne is almost completely gone. I wonder what she did. She's lost so much weight. Jessica was, of course, not happy to see my transformation. That night, she went live to confess to her fans. I helped her that day. I cleansed the evil spirit, and even took her to the hospital. But she checked out without a word to me. Now the curse has rebounded on me. All the toxins she purged have come to me. Her fans rushed to comfort her. That bitch is using such dirty tricks to hurt you. How disgusting. Let's dox her. Let everyone see what a vile person she is. That woman is a total backstabber. Many self-proclaimed Taoists online offered to help Jessica vanquish me, this evil creature. Hordes of her crazy fans tried every method to find my address. One night when I came home and lay down in bed, I heard someone turn on the light. It was one of Jessica's rabid fans. He was holding a knife and lunged toward my face. It's all your fault, Jessica is like this. I'm going to ruin your face. I had no choice but to call the police. But Jessica was live streaming every day, detailing my supposed crimes and claiming her health was getting worse. It was obvious she'd contracted something from her promiscuous lifestyle, but everyone sympathized with her. Instead, they cyberbullied me, calling me an ungrateful, shameless snake who used dirty tricks to frame her. My parents threatened to disown me, and the university said they would expel me. My boyfriend, Jason, even went on her stream to condemn me. On camera, he cried, I never thought my girlfriend was so promiscuous behind my back, that she even got AIDS. If you see her, please report her immediately. My friends spammed my phone with dozens of abusive texts, accusing me of hiding my AIDS diagnosis and telling me to go die. Even when I went out for a walk, people threw rotten eggs and vegetables at me, screaming, AIDS girl, go die. My reputation was destroyed, while Jessica's fame skyrocketed. But my body was almost fully recovered, and the pendant's influence over me had weakened. Jessica had the beauty filter on her streams cranked to the max, but it couldn't hide the acne on her face. The backlash was starting to show. Jason, who hadn't contacted me in ages, suddenly showed up. The memory of his hypocritical performance on the livestream made me sick. But he followed me like a puppy, begging for my forgiveness. I was taking a walk when he pulled me into a deserted corner. When he got a good look at me, a flash of astonishment crossed his eyes. I tried to pull away, but he whispered, "I'm sorry, Chloe. I was wrong about you. Jessica misled me, made me think you were messing around with other guys. Please forgive me." When I didn't answer, he pulled a necklace out of his pocket and tried to put it around my neck. I saw a dark aura swirling around it, and the moment it touched my skin, a cold dread shot through me. This had to be from Jessica. It felt exactly like the Jade pendant. I slapped it out of his hand, and it fell to the ground. Then I stomped on it with my foot. Jason's face darkened. He pushed me aside and picked up the necklace. "I had this specially made for you. How could you? Come on, just put it on, and we can be happy together again." He forced the necklace around my neck, his hands tightening until I could barely breathe. I bit down hard on his hand, drawing blood. I secretly wiped his blood on the necklace, and it began to burn against my skin. I tried to take it off, but it was stuck. Seeing the necklace on me, Jason turned and walked away without a backward glance, his pleading demeanor completely gone. My blood boiled, every nerve screaming for me to kill him. But it wasn't time. I had to wait for the dogs to turn on each other. In the middle of the night, I heard a noise at my door. I immediately sent a message to the police and turned on my security camera, just in case. Jessica's terrifying face looked even more monstrous, and her stomach was slightly swollen. A dark energy radiated from her, spreading through my apartment. Her face twisted in a snarl as she rushed at me. "Chloe, what did you do to me? Why does my face look like this?" She lunged, but I dodged, and she stumbled and fell to the floor. Her swollen belly made it hard for her to move, and she struggled to get up. I walked slowly toward her and gripped her chin tightly. "What did I do to you? Don't you know perfectly well? You used the Jade pendant to absorb my life force and transfer all your pain onto me. Your whole body positivity influencer career was built on my back." My grip tightened, and fear appeared in her eyes, but she still tried to lie. I was helping you. This place has too much negative energy. You're being deceived by it. I came to help you." Before I could answer, a man's voice stopped me. Jason came in, the red light of his phone indicating he was live streaming. He yanked my hand away and helped Jessica up from the floor. "You venomous bitch. Not only did you use dirty tricks to make Jessica look like this, but you also slept around and got her pregnant." I snorted, my face a mask of derision. "That's not what you were saying yesterday, when you were begging me to get back together with you." I played the recording I had made of him begging me to take him back. The viewers in the live stream were completely confused. Isn't Jason Chloe's boyfriend? Why is he so obsessed with Jessica? This guy accused Jessica of sleeping around, but last time he was on stream, he was accusing Chloe. Which is it? What happened to Jessica's face? I saw her stream yesterday and her skin was flawless. Chloe's face cleared up not long ago. She must have transferred all the toxins to Jessica. Did you guys hear him say she got Jessica pregnant? Am I the only one who thinks Jason and Jessica are in this together? A mix of fans and curious onlookers were watching the drama unfold. After hearing the recording, Jason flew into a rage. He knocked the recorder out of my hand and insisted, "That's obviously an AI-generated fake to frame me. I've been saying you're a slut from the very beginning." A red rash appeared on Jessica's arm. Her eyes were bloodshot as she pulled a talisman from her pocket and lunged at me. "You've been blinded by an evil spirit. Only I can save you." I dodged just in time, the talisman barely grazing my face. She, however, fell to the ground, and a pool of blood immediately formed beneath her. Jason collapsed next to her, his forehead beaded with cold sweat. My stomach hurts. Help me." Seeing her pale face, it was clear. Jason had become the new host for Jessica's Backlash. The police, who had just arrived, were stunned. All they could do was get both of them to a hospital. Watching Jason's agony, I couldn't help but tremble. If I had been the one to take the backlash, I would be the one in that ambulance right now. The livestream chat exploded. What is going on? Weren't they supposed to be exorcising Chloe? Why does it look like Jason is the one who's possessed? Did anyone notice Jessica was bleeding, but it was Jason who was screaming in pain? Did Jessica transfer her injuries to Jason? The internet was abuzz with speculation, and the controversy grew larger and larger. At the hospital, the doctors and nurses were dumbfounded by the bizarre situation. Jason, a grown man, was showing all the symptoms of a miscarriage. He was still unconscious after surgery, while Jessica lay limply on the floor next to him, completely drained of color. I kindly suggested to the doctors, "You should probably test Jason for AIDS." The medical staff panicked. They quickly ran a test on Jason's blood and confirmed the diagnosis. I glanced at the live stream. The viewer count had reached 100,000. Whoa, what is this? I thought we believed in science. Oh my God, did Jessica actually have AIDS and transfer it to Jason? That's terrifying. So was Chloe framed by Jessica the same way? This is seriously creepy. Am I the only one who cares that they hid their AIDS diagnosis? I hope the medical staff is okay. The chat was in chaos. A commenter claiming to be a Taoist master wrote, "This is an ancient dark art. How can it exist in the modern world?" He explained further, this technique was recorded 3,000 years ago. The Lee Nation was a small country that lived in seclusion in the mountains. When invaders threatened their peace, they tried to smoke them out by setting fire to the mountain. But strangely, the invaders all began to spontaneously combust and burn to death, leaving no bodies behind. This is the secret art recorded in the ancient texts. Seeing this comment, the mystery that had plagued me for 2 lifetimes was finally solved. Jessica had used a secret art. Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass came from the room, followed by a man's roar. "You said the backlash would hit Chloe. Why is it me now? You bitch. You're the one who made me give the Jade pendant to Chloe in the first place. And this is how you treat me? Go to hell." He was hysterically smashing a bottle at Jessica, but he was the one who clutched his head and groaned in pain. Every injury Jessica received was transferred to Jason. A thrill of revenge shot through me. Watching them tear each other apart was immensely satisfying. As I was about to leave, the master appeared again. He looked at the necklace I was wearing and sighed. She's still blinded by her own greed, still using this dark art. He took out 2 talismans and placed them on my neck. The necklace instantly loosened, but the dark energy grew even stronger, filling the entire hospital. The master rushed into the room and slapped Jessica hard across the face. This time, the pain wasn't transferred to Jason. "I kicked you out of my tutelage because you were secretly studying dark arts, but you still haven't learned your lesson. You've committed a terrible sin. Everyone has their own karma. If you forcefully interfere with someone else's fate, you will face retribution." As soon as he finished speaking, Jessica's phone rang. "Hello, Jessica. Your father is dying. You need to come home right away." She stumbled out of the room, bumping into the doorframe on her way out. On the bed, Jason let out a howl of agony. Jason fell to his knees and kowtowed to the master. "Master, please save me. I don't want to die. I'll give you all my money, just save me." The master sighed, admitting he was powerless. She used a 1,000-year-old secret art. My own power is not strong enough to interfere. The only way is if the original host suffers a massive shock, but you yourself would suffer a huge backlash. It's an unsolvable problem. Jason's eyes filled with fury. He screamed at the master, "You're lying. You're just protecting your own disciple." He pointed a finger at me, his eyes full of hate. "Why could you help her?" The master explained, "That's because hers was a cursed jade. Yours is a dark art, accompanied by a vengeful spirit. It's much more difficult." It was true. After the doctors had removed the fetus, it had vanished into thin air. It had become a small ghost, constantly hovering around Jason. All the master could do was give him a few talismans to suppress the evil energy inside him. Jason stormed out of the room like a madman, leaving me and the master staring at each other. he said helplessly. Jessica's heart is too full of malice. I should never have taken her in. Now she has caused such a disaster. I could only console him. This is the path she chose. She has to bear the consequences. I thought my life could finally return to peace, but Jason, who had been missing for a long time, suddenly started a live stream. In the video, Jessica was tied to a chair with a gag in her mouth, making muffled noises. Jason's face was covered in acne, and he had gained a lot of weight. He looked 10 years older. He glared at Jessica. It's because of you that I'm now a pariah everyone despises. Today I'm going to make you pay. The people in the live stream were stunned. What's happening? Oh my God, are they going to kill each other? Whoa, Jason looks like he's possessed. So scary. What are they doing? Is this a kidnapping? Come on, say hi to everyone. This is the first step to getting your confidence back, he mocked. After his tirade, he pulled a talisman from his pocket. Jessica's face was filled with terror. She seemed to know what it was. I was wrong. Don't come near me. I really know I was wrong. Jason roared. Too late. I'm not afraid of death anymore. Even if I die, I'm dragging you to hell with me. The talisman was different from the ones the master had given me. It had a terrifying snake pattern on it that made my skin crawl just looking at it. He burned the talisman to ash and forced it into Jessica's mouth. Instantly, a black energy shot into the top of her head. Her whole body began to change. Her skin shriveled like tree bark, and her hair turned white. She let out a hoarse roar. A sound like death itself had come to claim a soul. Another Taoist commented in the chat. My God, I can't believe I'm seeing this secret art in my lifetime. But this will cause mutual destruction. It seems he's determined to die. Jessica suddenly broke free from the ropes, and her body burst into flames. Jason collapsed on the floor, letting out agonizing, pitiful screams that even I found hard to watch. The police and firefighters arrived quickly, but the fire extinguishers couldn't put out the flames. It was too bizarre. It was only when the master rushed in, chanted a few incantations, and burned a talisman that the fire on their bodies was extinguished. But they had already been burned to ashes. Not even their bodies were left. The live stream ended abruptly. The incident sparked widespread speculation and panic. But soon, all the videos disappeared from the internet, leaving no trace, as if it had never happened. I tentatively asked Mia, "Hey, have Jessica's parents been by looking for her?" Mia rolled her eyes. "Chloe, did you study your brain into mush? I don't know any Jessica." It was as if all traces of Jessica and Jason had been erased from the world. Only I remembered. But as time went on, the memory of it all grew fainter in my mind. It was all in the past. It was time for me to start my own life. Let's collect our thoughts and move on to the next story. 5 years of dating, a July engagement, an August wedding. I died from brutal domestic violence in the cold of November. Vicious, blood-sucking relatives, a cruel, sex-addicted husband, and a two-faced snake of a mistress were all plotting to bleed me dry. I thought I had married for love. 6 years wasn't long enough for me to see what a scumbag Alex was. In the end, I closed my eyes in despair in the ICU, full of regret. With a jolt like an electric shock, I woke up on the day before his proposal. This time, I was determined to marry him again. Except, in this new life, I was going to make sure that scumbag died. And not only would he die, I was going to play a damn trumpet on his grave. When I opened my eyes, I was curled up on the soft sofa in my duplex. The pain from my past life seemed to linger in my body, leaving me drenched in sweat, breathing so hard I couldn't calm down. I grabbed my phone and checked the date, June 30th, Sunday. Tomorrow was the day that scumbag Alex proposed to me in my past life. I really had been reborn. My heart pounded, and my body trembled. In this new life, my pathetic, laughable love had turned into monstrous hatred. My only purpose for living was revenge. I shot up from the sofa, quickly changed, and rushed out the door. I had 2 things to do. First, I went to an insurance agent I knew and bought huge life insurance policies for both myself and Alex. In my last life, it wasn't until I was helpless in the ICU that I learned the policy he'd bought for me was a plot hatched with his mistress. He didn't just want my inheritance, he wanted to cash in on my death. So this time, I would strike first. After sorting out the insurance, I dashed to the nearest gym and shouted at the front desk, "I want the best one-on-one training for kickboxing. I don't care about the cost, I need to learn fast, and I want the best trainer you have. To marry you again, Alex, I'm sparing no expense and putting in all the effort." While I was on the bench press, my phone buzzed twice. I had received messages from both Alex and his mistress, Ava, at the same time. "Alex, wear something nice tomorrow, babe. I have a surprise for you." Ava, "Sarah, I'm so bored. Wanna go shopping?" I almost threw up. The fact that they texted me at the exact same time with such perfect coordination could only mean one thing. They were together right now, deliberately testing the waters. I met Alex in college, and he started pursuing me aggressively in our sophomore year. I was shy and had few friends. It was only after I started working that I met Ava and considered her my best friend, trusting her with everything. A few months after graduating, Alex joined our company and, before long, started cheating on me with Ava behind my back. In my past life, I was completely oblivious to their disgusting charade. I even had a falling out with my true best friend, Megan, over them. But when I was on my deathbed on a ventilator, watching that scumbag and his mistress gloat in front of me, as Alex was about to stop my treatment and take me home to die, it was Megan who rushed in, crying, and slapped both of them across the face. She then paid out of her own pocket to keep me in the ICU. But in my last life, I didn't make it. The memory was a dagger to the heart, and tears streamed down my face. I sobbed and wiped my face, then tremblingly opened my phone and sent a message to Megan. "Megan, I miss you so much." 10 minutes later, Megan burst into the gym, frowning with a look of disdain. "What kind of drama are you stirring up now?" I looked at my best friend's face, finally breaking down and rushing forward to hug her tightly. I wore the outfit Megan and I had picked out, waiting calmly and coldly in the office for Alex to propose. I had put a lot of effort into my makeup today, demure but not plain, alluring but not vulgar, hitting all the right notes for that pretentious, deadbeat scumbag's aesthetic. Sure enough, as Alex jogged toward me, his eyes lit up. He was over 6 feet tall, dressed in a sharp suit, looking handsome and full of youthful energy on the surface. But only I knew he was not just a pretentious social climber from the sticks, but a broke one at that. Every penny he earned was spent on his appearance. The BMW was a used, base model. From head to toe, everything he wore was a high-quality knockoff. The only valuable thing on him was the designer watch on his wrist, and that was a gift from me. My parents died in a car accident when I was in high school, leaving me the duplex worth about $200,000 and $100,000 in savings. Alex had been eyeing it for a long time. He pursued me with fawning servility, using every trick in the book, playing the part of the deeply devoted lover. I was young and naive about love, and I fell for it instantly. From then on, I plunged headfirst into the trap he set, right up until my resentful death. Alex was already in front of me, down on one knee. He pulled a black velvet ring box from his pocket and opened it in front of the whole office. It sparkled brilliantly. "Sarah, will you marry me?" The 3-carat diamond was actually cubic zirconia, but it was a convincing fake. I covered my face, pretending to be overcome with joy, and let Alex slide the fake diamond ring onto my finger. I hugged him tightly, spinning around and shouting, "I do." The office erupted in cheers, applause, and congratulations. But Ava's face was grim, the hostility in her eyes barely contained. I pretended to be ecstatically happy and shared my joy with her, grabbing her hand so she couldn't pull away. "Ava, I'm so happy, so blissful. Alex, he loves me so much." Ava's face went pale. I didn't care. I deliberately wrapped my arms around Alex's neck in front of her, pulling his face close to mine. My breath teased his earlobe as I whispered, sultry and seductive, "Come to my place tonight. I have a surprise for you too, Alex." When Alex arrived at my place that night, his face was clearly scratched up. The thought of Ava going ballistic and clawing at him made me want to laugh. I pretended not to notice and eagerly pushed the 2 insurance policies toward him, presenting them as a gift and sweet-talking him into signing. "Alex, will you love me forever?" A man lost in the heat of the moment has little sincerity, only a string of oily, practiced lies. Of course, babe. From this day on, all your promises and all your lies. I hung on his neck, an evil smile I couldn't suppress spreading across my lips. That's wonderful. So Alex, how much are you offering for the bride price? That scumbag Alex had always been so good at faking his devotion. When did the mask start to slip? I think it was right at this moment. Babe, you're the only one left in your family. Any bride price would just come back to our little home, right? As for a dowry, everything you have belongs to me, and I belong to you. I think this duplex your parents left us is great. Let's make our home here, as a way to remember them. How could I have been so blind in my past life, so completely fooled by such sweet talk, only to end up dead and dismembered? But this time I just playfully tapped his chest, both coy and gentle. Whatever you say, Alex. Seeing my cute act, his animal instincts took over. His filthy hands had just touched my chest when his phone rang. His expression changed, and he snuck off to the bathroom to take the call. I knew it was Ava. After the call, he wanted to continue, but I whined that I was hungry and begged him to make me some noodles. While he was in the kitchen, I quietly unlocked his phone. To maintain his devoted act, his passcode was my birthday. He really did put on a good show. The chat history with Ava was wiped clean, not a trace left on his phone. But I quickly opened my own phone and used a special app one had managed to find to create a backup login for his messaging account on my device. From now on, whenever he sent or received a message, I could monitor it all. He would have no more secrets from me. Just as I put his phone back, he came out with a steaming bowl of noodles. But then both my phone and his buzzed at the same time. Alex gave me a suspicious look and quickly grabbed his phone to check. I remained calm and quietly silenced my own phone. He exchanged a few messages, then feigned annoyance as he gently coaxed me. Babe, my boss is with an important client and insists I come and help out. I sneered internally but put on a gentle face. You should go. Don't drink too much and be careful on the road. The moment he was out the door, I calmly opened my phone. Ava had sent him a very sexy, provocative photo. Aren't you coming tonight, Daddy? Alex's reply was just as vulgar. Just you wait, I'm gonna fuck you senseless. But moments later, the entire chat history was deleted. The scumbag was indeed careful. Alex, afraid I'd get away, was in a hurry to get engaged, lest anything change. As July's sweltering heat set in, I knew the battle of my revenge was about to officially begin. He was so sure he had me in the bag that he actually suggested we skip a hotel for the engagement party. He wanted to take me back to his hometown and have the party at his family's house, according to their village customs. He said it would be a sign of respect for tradition and make us seem closer. I knew he just didn't want to spend a dime on me. What could I do? I happily agreed, of course. Megan and I went to great lengths to buy some fake cigarettes and liquor. I even picked out a knockoff designer bag for Alex's mom. Then, loaded with bags, I went back to the village with him. Going to Alex's hometown was like heading deep into the mountains, desolate, isolated, without even a decent road. His family lived in a typical courtyard house of a poor rural village, dilapidated and dark, with no running water or natural gas. It was the kind of place even a volunteer teacher would take one look at and turn right around. In my last life, Megan called me a love-dazed idiot. She said if I were trafficked in a poor, remote place like this, he wouldn't even be able to save me in time. She warned that after we got married, his whole family would latch onto me and suck me dry. We fought horribly over it, and our friendship ended. I never thought her words would turn out to be a prophecy. When we arrived, dusty and tired, we found the cramped, dim room filled with his relatives, a pack of smug, calculating villagers sitting around with their hands in their sleeves, looking at me with ill intentions. The stove was cold, the heated Kong bed was cold, and there wasn't a single dish on the table. Just like last time, they were trying to put me in my place by making the new bride cook and serve them. I was absolutely delighted. A radiant smile on my face, I rolled up my sleeves and even sent away a guilt-ridden Alex who offered to help. I happily went to the outer kitchen to cook. I even thoughtfully closed the door behind me and quietly latched it from the outside. I pressed my ear to the door and listened for a moment. The nest of old vipers was chattering away in their rural dialect, with phrases like "put her in her place," "a city wife is hard to manage, you have to tame her now," If you don't suppress her now, she'll be shitting on her mother-in-law's head later. And Alex is so capable, he's got his new bride wrapped around his little finger. It was so crude and vile I almost threw up. In my past life, I might have tolerated it, but this time, you think I'm letting you off? I poured a whole bucket of oil into the large earthen stove's wok, without adding anything else. Then I squatted down and frantically stuffed firewood into the stove opening, using all the strength I'd recently built up to pump the bellows with all my might. The iron wok, thin from years of use, soon cracked and the bucket of oil caught fire, leaking into the stove. The hot oil hit the flames, and with a whoosh, the fire exploded out of the stove, nearly licking me. That wasn't enough. I shoved in a few more handfuls of dry grass and gave the bellows several powerful pumps. Smoke and dust burst out of the stove. The burning firewood tumbled out, quickly igniting the kindling and other wood on the floor. Only then did I let out a few loud coughs and run out of the house, waving my arms and yelling, "Fire! Fire! Help, it's a fire!" The old farmhouse door was flimsy, so the pack of dog relatives didn't burn to death. They kicked the door down in a panic and rushed out, scorched and terrified, by which time half the kitchen was already engulfed in flames. His family's old house was so dilapidated that with the oil and wind, it quickly burned and collapsed. Neighbors rushed over to help put out the fire, and it took 2 or 3 hours to finally extinguish it, barely saving his ancestral home from being reduced to a pile of ashes. I pretended to be terrified, letting out a soft cry and throwing myself into Alex's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "Alex, I'm so scared. I thought I was going to die. I don't know what happened. I was just cooking and suddenly there was a fire." An experienced neighbor who inspected the scene said the wok had sprung a leak, which started the fire. Alex's mother was so furious her face turned purple. Covered in soot and tears, she beat her chest, stomped her feet, and started wailing on the ground, pointing at me and about to start screaming curses. "You think I'd let her?" I let out a loud sob and buried myself in Alex's arms, gently pounding his chest with my little fists. "Alex, you know my parents died young. I'm all alone, and I've always thought of your parents as my own. I just wanted to show off my cooking skills, but I ended up making such a huge mess. Sob Alex, it's all my fault. You're not mad at me, are you?" I have to say, Ava's two-faced tactics from my last life really worked. I cried like a damsel in distress, looking both graceful and fragile. The moment his mom opened her mouth to curse me, I would start wailing again, a seamless transition. I knew that scumbag Alex was all about saving face. In a situation like this, he would just play the magnanimous victim and would never blame me in public. Sure enough, he just held me and comforted me, saying it was nothing, that the house was old anyway and renovating it wouldn't cost much. I knew he had no money and was just waiting to marry me to get his hands on my assets. But it didn't matter. Whether he borrowed money, took out a loan, or just stubbornly refused to fix it and let his parents suffer, I would pretend not to know. I was just waiting for the final reckoning. Right after our chaotic engagement in his hometown, Alex pushed for an August wedding. I readily agreed. I threw myself into working out and dragged Megan along to shop for wedding supplies, preparing the venue, the menu, the invitations. I was as busy as a bee. While we were out shopping, I suddenly got a friend request from a stranger on my messaging app. Once I accepted, this obvious burner account immediately sent me a photo. The photo was clearly taken from above. A naked Alex was lying on the bed, his cheeks flushed, lost in passion. A second photo followed, showing Alex with his arms around a woman, both naked, in a very intimate mirror selfie. Unfortunately, the woman's face was blocked by the phone, so it was hard to see. But from her figure and hairstyle, I knew it was Ava. "Whoa," I said, immediately sharing it with Megan, analyzing it with great interest. Megan just gave me the middle finger, speechless. "He's so small," she blurted out. "Yeah, he really is." As we were cracking up, another message came through, pressing its point. "So what if you're marrying him? His heart is mine." So, she was here to stake her claim. In my past life, if you had sent me this crap, I might have been sad, disappointed, and tearful. But in this new life, I just find it disgusting, ridiculous, and utterly pathetic. I was amused. I quickly typed a reply. "You have my sympathies. Alex is a two-pump chump, so it must be hard for you to have to play along. Here's $100. Go buy yourself a nice chicken to get your strength back. I sent her a $100 red packet and continued the assault. By the way, this $100 is also from my side piece. The person on the other end was clearly triggered. The typing bubble appeared and disappeared for a long time before a message finally came through. Why aren't you angry? Are you insane? I gave a wicked smile and typed back decisively. Because of love. And because my side piece is rich. I'm happy to do it. I could almost immediately picture Ava's face, red with fury. The satisfaction was indescribable. When I went back to work after the weekend, I wore my most expensive dress, the floral gold ring my best friend and I had bought yesterday, and carried a designer bag. I walked in like a queen descending upon her court, greeted by a chorus of wows. I deliberately grabbed Ava's hand to show off. Look, this is my engagement gift from Alex. I'm so happy he really loves me. I was sure my gold ring nearly blinded her. My colleagues crowded around chattering. Did Alex buy you that ring? It's gorgeous. Sarah, you've changed so much. You're so cheerful and bright, and your makeup is beautiful. I pretended to nod shyly, feigning happiness. I had no idea Alex was a secret millionaire. They say a lover is like a gardener tending a flower. Look how well he's tended to me. This is the set of 5 gold pieces he bought for the engagement. We're going to buy another set for the wedding. Ava forced a smile and congratulated me, but her eyes were bloodshot with rage. My goal was achieved. I wanted this vain, materialistic woman to believe Alex was rich, so she would latch onto him and never let go. At the same time, I used wedding preparations as an excuse to avoid being intimate with Alex. Alex was a human jackhammer, all enthusiasm, no skill, and he got antsy if he didn't get any for a day. He was out sleeping with Ava almost every night. While monitoring his messages, I discovered he had more than just Ava. His phone was filled with hidden dating apps. Taking advantage of his decent looks, he had a whole garden of hookups, one-night stands, and online flirtations blooming. For someone so broke, he was shamelessly prolific. Our wedding day arrived in a flash. On the grounds that it was bad luck for the bride and groom to see each other before the wedding, I refused to meet him. So he went out with his degenerate friends for a bachelor party. Megan was my maid of honor, and was already staying at my place. We stayed up half the night, and finally, Alex's phone buzzed. Ava had sent him a very explicit photo of herself in a thong and a sheer veil, posed like a bride. The message read, "Tomorrow my beloved is becoming someone else's husband, but I want your last night of freedom to belong only to me." Below it was the address and room number of a 5-star hotel. Wow, Ava. Your shamelessness is truly a sight to behold, one bright flash after another. You've outdone yourself. I was so excited I let out a whoop, grabbed Megan, and with our IDs in hand, dragged her to the hotel. On the way, I used Alex's account to transfer $666 to Ava. She accepted it instantly and replied with a sultry voice message. "Thank you, Daddy." I immediately changed her contact name on Alex's phone to a Ava available nationwide, and then in one smooth motion, deleted all the conversation history before the room number. I was betting that Alex would be dead drunk tonight, high on his own ego and lust, so sure he had me in the bag that he'd be careless and not check his phone. We raced to the hotel like a rocket and, after spending a small fortune, managed to get the room right next to Ava's. Then Megan and I each took a glass, pressed it tightly against the wall, and started eavesdropping. Sure enough, it wasn't long before we heard Alex's voice in the hallway, and then in the room. Moments later, the two of them ignited, and a fierce battle commenced. I never thought I'd unlock this hidden storyline in this lifetime. I excitedly nudged Megan and whispered, "Call the cops." Megan was so thrilled she looked like she was reverting to her primal ancestors. She covered her mouth and dialed the number. "Hello, police? I'd like to report a case of prostitution." Yes, I'm at the XX Grand Hotel, room 308. Please come quickly. I have to give it to the police for their efficiency. Less than 5 minutes later, chaos erupted outside. Then, the sounds of a raging fire and a woman's screams came from the next room, rising and falling in an endless cycle. Megan and I listened from behind the wall, thoroughly enjoying the show. Once they were taken away, I pulled Megan home. I turned off my phone in the car. No way, I needed my beauty sleep to be the most beautiful bride tomorrow. At 4 a.m., when the makeup artist arrived, I finally turned my phone back on. Over 30 missed calls, all from Alex. I was so amused I was practically doubled over with laughter, much to the annoyance of the makeup artist who kept swatting me. Stop laughing, your foundation is cracking. By 6, makeup was done, and the photographer, videographer, bridesmaids, and groomsmen were all in place. We were supposed to go out for location shots, but the groom hadn't arrived. Alex's parents were calling him frantically, but his phone was off. No one could find Alex. No one knew where he had ended up. But I knew. Alex was probably still sitting in a holding cell, waiting for someone to bail him out. All his relatives and groomsmen were dispatched, searching for him like madmen. The lead photographer and videographer exchanged confused glances, but I was perfectly at ease, playing cards with Megan, the other bridesmaids, and the makeup artist. My luck was incredible. I'd plastered their faces with losing slips. At 11 o'clock, my eyes and hands were sore from playing. I finally pushed the cards away. Let's go. Time to hit the buffet. At 11:58, when the wedding ceremony officially began, Alex's relatives were stunned, his colleagues were stunned, and the hotel's MC was stunned. He'd hosted countless weddings, but this was the first time he'd seen one without a groom. The hotel manager ran over to me several times, his eyes wary. The guests are all seated for the banquet. Are we serving the food or not? I'm telling you, in a situation like this, we'll refund half at most. You can't try to swindle us. I laughed and waved my hand grandly. Why wouldn't we serve the food? Serve it. Let the music play. And let the party begin. By the time Alex was dragged in, looking disheveled and disgraced, Megan and I were already stuffed from the feast. The large screen on the stage was still cycling through our wedding photos and sweet love story. A perfect, bitter irony. Alex's parents' faces were black with rage, but they just mumbled excuses about him being drunk and oversleeping. I fully deployed my green tea level acting skills, crying so pitifully it was a work of art. I held his face tenderly. Honey, are you hungry? Since it's already like this, you might as well have a bite to eat. The aftershocks of the wedding banquet lingered. To my surprise, right after the honeymoon, the company issued a notice firing both Alex and Ava. I was still processing it when my boss called me into his office to fill me in on the spectacular wedding eve drama. After being taken to the police station, Alex and Ava had panicked and claimed they were a couple. But their antics that night had been too wild, with a bed full of sex toys that was a real eye-opener. The police didn't buy it. They had Ava call Alex on the spot, and his caller ID showed Ava available nationwide. Then the officers easily found the $666 transfer in his message history, along with the room number for the transaction. The boss confirmed he was guilty of soliciting a prostitute. What I didn't expect was that Ava wasn't clean either. Her contact name for Alex was Daddy Number 3. God knows how hard I had to try not to laugh when I heard that. Alex panicked and called me repeatedly, hoping I'd bail him out, but my phone was off. Too ashamed to call his family, he had a moment of madness and called our boss. Our boss, who had to drive to the police station in the middle of the night, was livid. The wedding invitation I'd sent him was still sitting in his car. After a whole night of hassle, the boss finally managed to prove they were colleagues and bailed him out. Alex and Ava, after a night of stern lectures from the police, begged and pleaded until they were let off without detention, each paying a $500 fine. But my boss felt terrible for me and decided to tell me everything. He said if I wanted a divorce, he would fully support me and told me to focus on my work. To his surprise, I beamed. It's okay. I love him. I can forgive him. He probably thought I was insane. Alex had lost his job and his dignity. He was practically under house arrest, too ashamed to go out, just moping around like a zombie. A few days later, his uncle from the countryside was celebrating his 66th birthday and insisted we go back to the village for the celebration. I remembered this day all too well. In my past life, Alex, knowing I had studied the guzheng since I was a child, forced me to perform on stage for his pack of relatives, friends, and fellow villagers, just to show off. They treated me like an object, pointing and commenting while they ate and drank. I felt humiliated and argued with him, which is when he finally dropped his mask and hit me in public, marking the beginning of his domestic abuse. This life, I had finally been waiting for this day. Overjoyed, I jumped up and wrapped my arms around his neck. "Don't worry, honey. I'll be on my best behavior and make you proud." On the day of his uncle's birthday banquet, Alex got up early to get dressed, looking sharp and full of energy. As we headed to the countryside with bags of gifts, it never occurred to him that if I was going to perform, I should probably bring my guzheng. Finally, it was my turn to perform. I walked on stage in a white dress, my makeup simple and elegant, looking as graceful as a Narcissus from a classical play. But when I pulled out my instrument, Alex's jaw dropped. Because I pulled out a bright, shiny trumpet. Then, I opened my mouth and blasted out a tune, a tone-deaf, raucous, and incredibly piercing rendition of the funeral march. In the countryside, a trumpet like this was almost exclusively used for funerals. Combined with its brash sound and powerful projection, it was an instrument you didn't bring out lightly. I had practiced for 3 days, nearly blowing my lungs out. The fact that I could even produce a melody was a sign of talent. When I finished, I gave a dazzling smile, wishing Uncle a long life and good health. May everyone here live to be 100 for a long, long time. Alex's mother fainted on the spot. The uncle was so mad his beard trembled, and he nearly had a stroke. The other relatives stared, dumbfounded, like a troop of monkeys struck by lightning. The whole village erupted in laughter, turning Alex into a complete joke. He rushed onto the stage and slapped me hard across the face. "Are you insane? Oh ho, so you finally laid a hand on me?" I slapped him back twice as hard, and let out a piercing scream. His eyes bulged, and he raised his hand again, completely unhinged. Our brawl had officially begun, and I had been training for over a month, just for this day. I was going to crush him, torture him, beat him until he utterly regretted ever daring to lay a hand on a poor, helpless woman. When we first started fighting, I was at a disadvantage. After all, he was over 6 feet tall, strong and well-built, with terrifying brute force. But I had diligently consulted my fitness coach, trained relentlessly every single day, and constantly refined my killer moves and dirty tricks. In less than a month, Alex was completely powerless against me. On top of that, I had been constantly testing the police's limits and found that they mostly categorized spousal fights as domestic disputes, their response limited to mediation, platitudes, and scolding. So I let loose. On my birthday in September, I went all out and beat Alex so thoroughly he ended up in the hospital. 2 broken ribs, a fractured leg, dislocated knuckles, and his entire body covered in bruises. He couldn't move, wrapped up like a mummy, a truly frightening sight. But I had become skilled in my beatings. None of it was serious enough to be considered a major injury. At the hospital, I played the part of the devoted wife, getting him the best private room, taking meticulous care of him, feeding him, giving him water, even helping him with the bedpan. My own injuries were on my face. When people asked, I would just cry. He didn't mean to do it. I just want to take care of him and live a peaceful life with him. I became the model of a perfect modern wife. Everyone whispered behind his back about what a monster Alex was, hitting his wife even when she was so devoted. But at night, when it was quiet, I switched to psycho mode and started a live stream. "Hello my darlings. It's my birthday today, so I'm giving you all a treat. Yes, I'm at the hospital. See the man on the bed? He's a lazy, cheating scumbag who also beats his wife, and I've already beaten him into a hospital bed. Tonight, let the gifts roll in. Send a cannon, and I'll punch the scumbag once. Send a sports car and I'll kick him. And if any of you sends a galaxy, I'll give him an 8-hit combo." The chat was instantly flooded with skeptical comments. Many were asking questions, but no one was sending gifts. I picked a comment and answered with a smile. Why not just divorce him? A scumbag like this? I can't let him back on the market until he's been thoroughly disabled. At that moment, Megan, who had been waiting in the stream, sent me a galaxy right on cue. I smiled sweetly, my eyes sparkling. "Thank you for the galaxy, darling. With that, I got up, balled my fists, and completely ignored Alex's terrified screams, curses, and pleas for mercy. I delivered 8 solid punches to his torso. The live stream exploded. People flooded in. I immediately paid to boost the stream. Then the gifts started trickling in. The host is a badass. She's really hitting him. Is she for real? I'm sending a gift to test it. I didn't hesitate. I got up and gave Alex another kick. Then, the comments and gifts poured in like a tidal wave. Wow, you're so brave, girl. Death to all abusive husbands. It's a script. Definitely a script. Damn, live streams are getting this wild now. I love you, girl. Here are some gifts. Hit that scumbag a few more times for me. Do you offer a ZO on-demand service? I want to beat my husband too. I streamed for 3 days straight and made over $5,000, enough to cover Alex's hospital bills. At first, the scumbag tried to challenge me, screaming that he would kill me. But after I beat him black and blue, he was reduced to a sobbing mess, begging me for a divorce. I gently forced a spoonful of scalding hot porridge into his mouth and smiled. Honey, have you forgotten? For us, it's till death do us part. There's no separating while we're alive. The nurse on her rounds. She really loves him. This is true love. Alex finally broke down, crying and screaming for a divorce, willing to pay any price. All right, that's about enough. I feigned sadness and pulled out the divorce papers I had prepared. We've known each other for 6 years. To be fair, you were good to me in the beginning. Let's part on good terms. You can have the house, and I'll take all my dowry. If you agree, just sign. I had consulted a lawyer. If I wanted a divorce, he would get half my assets no matter what. But he looked at me with terror and suspicion, as if he were seeing a ghost. What are you plotting now? How could you be so generous? I chuckled. I can choose not to get a divorce. And I can continue the live stream tonight. The next morning, I went out to get some water. And when I returned, the hospital room was packed with people. They were all familiar faces, Alex's relatives from the countryside. He had finally swallowed his damn pride and called for backup while I was gone. Great, the whole rotten family finally assembled. I dialed Megan, put the phone in my pocket, and calmly smoothed my hospital gown before gracefully walking into the room. The pack of relatives surrounded me. Alex struggled to sit up and shouted, his eyes wide with fury. That's her. She tried to murder her husband, and now she wants to take my property. Get her. The words were barely out of his mouth before the pack of hyenas swarmed me. I protected my head and vital organs as best I could, letting them kick and punch me, all while crying and screaming, dodging and weaving, and landing a few sneaky blows of my own. They wouldn't let up. They grabbed chairs and stands, smashing the entire room to pieces. My hair was pulled, and just as Alex's mother was about to slap me, the hospital nurses, doctors, and security guards finally rushed in to stop them, and another brawl broke out. In the chaos, I managed to land a few solid slaps on his mother's face. And then, Megan descended from the heavens with the police. This gang of thugs had publicly caused a disturbance, assaulted someone, and even attacked security guards and police officers. It was a serious offense. My injuries were officially documented, I refused to settle, and with multiple charges combined, they were facing 5 years in prison. And that wasn't all. They had destroyed the private room's monitoring equipment, a multifunctional respiratory machine, an EKG machine, and other emergency equipment. They were also facing a $20,000 fine and compensation claim. On the day of the sentencing, the group, led by Alex's mother, fainted in the courtroom, crying and begging for mercy, but the bailiffs mercilessly dragged them away to be incarcerated. With that, Alex had nowhere else to turn. He finally signed the divorce papers. The very next day, Megan gathered a group of brawny friends and went to my house to evict Alex. I knew he wouldn't give up easily and wouldn't hand over the property without a fight. So long before the wedding, Megan and I had gone to the property management office and transferred the ownership of my house to her name. I had also signed a lease agreement with her, renting the property for $600 a month. Therefore, the duplex was now technically unrelated to either me or Alex. If he wanted to stay, he had to pay the $600 monthly rent. Megan coolly presented the property deed and lease agreement, and unceremoniously threw Alex out. Alex's life after that went into a nosedive. He lost his job, and his entire family was in jail. To pay the fines, he took out loans from loan sharks and became destitute. Ava, after being fired, had her reputation ruined in the industry, and no company would hire her. She still thought Alex was a secret millionaire, so not only did she willingly support the scumbag, but she also managed to get pregnant, hoping to trap him. When Megan showed me the invitation, she asked, "So, ex-wife of a scumbag, are we going to your ex-husband and his mistress's wedding?" I burst out laughing. Of course we are. And not only are we going, I'm preparing a huge gift for them. I created a group chat with all of Alex's hookups, flirtations, and sugar mamas from his contact list and sent a mass message. "I'm getting married. I was just playing with you all. You're nothing compared to my fiancé. Stop bothering me." I immediately left the group. Alex never suspected a thing. Next, I sent a wedding invitation to every one of the loan sharks Alex owed money to. On the day of the wedding, Megan and I got dressed up, looking absolutely stunning, and headed out. The wedding ceremony had just begun, but before the farce could even get started, a group of stylish, competing women stormed into the venue, grabbing Ava's dress and tearing at her hair in a wild frenzy. Another group of creditors grabbed Alex and dragged him out like a chicken for a chat. Although the hotel they chose for their wedding was a significant downgrade from ours, the MC had the same bewildered expression. He watched as 7 or 8 women rolled on the floor, tearing at each other, the groom nowhere in sight, and all the relatives and friends started fighting amongst themselves. The whole wedding banquet descended into chaos. The hotel manager was stomping his feet in frustration. He ran over to me and Megan, who were calmly watching the spectacle like it was a movie. "The guests are all seated for the banquet. Are we serving the food or not? I'm telling you, in a situation like this, we'll refund half at most. You can't try to swindle us." What a familiar scene. Megan and I were beside ourselves with laughter. I waved my hand grandly. "Serve it, why not? Let the music play, and let the party begin." The next time I heard news of Alex, it was of his death. After marrying Ava, she finally saw his true colors. A manipulative, social climbing, stingy, abusive man. He started hitting her too, forcing her to go out and work to support him. Ava, furious, had an abortion. She was no saint herself and refused to be controlled, so she fought back. But Ava was small and thin, no match for Alex, who would pin her down and beat her black and blue. During their last fight, Ava snapped. She grabbed a fruit knife from the kitchen and plunged it, handle and all, into his chest. So the scumbag made his glorious exit, the mistress was thrown in jail, and the whole mess came to an end. I don't know whether to be happy or find it ironic, but a month later, I received a huge sum of money from the insurance company. It was the payout from the large life insurance policy I had bought for Alex, and I was the sole beneficiary. So now I was destined to live a lonely life of independence, with plenty of money and a dead ex-husband. The thought of it is just so tragic. Another year, the flowers bloomed in the warmth of spring. It was a clear, beautiful day during the Qingming festival. Megan bought a bouquet of white chrysanthemums and came bouncing over to my house, giving me a thumbs up. "Hey, ex-wife of a scumbag, let's go sweep your ex-husband's grave." And so we went. Ever since I became a legend at that birthday banquet in the countryside, my trumpet, which had been silent for nearly a year, was finally unsealed today, joining us on our happy journey. Green willows and fragrant grass swayed in the gentle spring breeze. I stood before Alex's tombstone in a floral dress, my long hair flowing, and played my trumpet loud and clear.